Hey guys, Jeremy Morgan here with Abby Realty. I just want to take a quick minute and introduce myself to those of you who may not know me and give a little context and background on who I am, where I came from, and just kind of why I ventured into real estate recently. So with that, first and foremost, through and through Texan, born and raised up in a small town about 45 minutes north of Dallas called Lake Dallas, if you happen to know where that's at. With that, both of my parents moved nearly every grade level whenever they were growing up. So they intended for me and my brother to grow up in the same town, a little change of pace, and have a more meaningful sense of the word home. With that change of pace, I got to see Lake Dallas just completely change and grow over the course of those 18 years, from cattle and horse pastures to getting our first stoplight in town whenever we're in elementary, and we thought we were just high timing whenever McDonald's and Albertsons shortly came in after that. And it's just continued to grow ever since. From a small 3A school to a 4A my junior year, and now currently a 5A district. I say all this because seeing the transformation was just crazy in and of itself, but it especially hit me as fascinating because all the construction aspect that was going on with it. So I received my bachelor's from Texas A&M in construction science, and I realized I probably just alienated half of y'all out there as an Aggie, but my time there, in addition to the Corps Cadets, was just a special experience for me and helped me develop a sense of pride and just perseverance based on the culture there and some of the challenges that I'd faced. So ever since I can remember, I've been just fascinated with building things, be it playing with Legos and building forts out of bed sheets, or when I was in high school building classic cars with my dad out in the garage. I'm just wired in a weird way that my form of relaxation is to build something. So naturally, when I graduated, I went into construction management. Worked for a commercial general contractor based here in Houston, and still enjoy working with the same company 10 years later. And during that time period, I've gotten to work on some amazing projects, such as the Asia Society Museum in downtown Houston, a private residence over in Rice Village, and I've also spent about 5.5 years on and off out in West Texas, out in Midland, building some pretty substantial office buildings and facilities for the oil and gas industry out there. I've been back in Houston full-time a little less than 3 years now, and I've been mainly focused down in the med center, just working on some world-class facilities, build-outs down there for some pretty awesome hospitals. So being back in Houston, I've finally locked down the family lifestyle by marrying an incredible woman nearly 2 years ago, and we just had our first baby boy. So I certainly have a new appreciation for all the parents out there. Not that I thought it was going to be easy by any means, but it's definitely a game changer. So with that, another game changer is my real estate profession. So I've had a number of people ask me why I've gotten into real estate, and honestly, it's a number of different aspects. But first and foremost is just the mindset and the process of how our country's view on debt and spending is bleeding over into our society at the individual level. So we currently are sitting at about $28 trillion on the books, just on the federal level. And it's just, unfortunately, the same mindset of debt is spilling over in how do we live our lives today. Just too many people don't understand the full impact of owning a home and the cost of maintaining it, or even the actual cost of purchasing it in the first place. So this, to a certain extent, is where I was 4 years ago. I'm much more on the conservative side, especially when talking about finances, but there's still a lot of aspects about owning and purchasing a home that I didn't know at the time, that I wish I would have known now. So with that, there's lots of realtors and mortgage companies out there that will facilitate the whole owning the American dream aspect, whenever they should actually be pushing the pause button in certain situations. And with that, I see it a little differently. In my mind, your home should be a blessing, not a burden. It should be a place where you can take refuge from the issues of the day and come home and just relax. It should not be part of the cause of your anxiety. And I'd rather, just point out the facts up front and try to, show it to you a little bit more as an educational aspect when going through the process, than coming across as, the used car sales guy. That's just not what the industry should have. And unfortunately, there are a number of people out there, not all of them by any means, of course, but enough to kind of give you pause a little bit. So with that, same on the mortgage side, you're going to have lots of people that are going to be giving you pre-approval letters to buy a house with 3% down. Okay, does that 3% mean 3%, or does it mean 3% plus another $7,000 to $15,000 in closing costs that they didn't tell you about until you're actually under contract? Mortgage origination fees, title insurance, HOA transfer fees, all the stuff that you should be informed about, because this is a huge aspect of your life, and it should not be a roller coaster ride. It should be, something joyous to go through. So my goal is to come in as a little bit more of a teacher, opposed to, again, that used car salesman. So there's a lot that goes into buying a home and owning a home, for that fact. In all honesty, I wouldn't be opposed to guiding a family to even postponing a purchase of a home for a few months or even a year, just by simply educating them on what all that entails and the process that comes along with it. Next is, kind of circling back to the family. Before Jen and I even got engaged, we had discussed what our expectations and goals were for our future family. And now that we've, had our first baby, she's going to be staying home for the next few years based on our discussions and, concurrence on what we're going to be doing. So the real estate aspect is, another supplement of allowing her to stay home with the kids. So that's something that we both feel is important, and this kind of allows us to facilitate that. Number 3 is an excuse to have another toy. Yes and no. So like I said earlier, my way of relaxing is just working on things. It's a passion that I obtained from my dad, and that is rebuilding classic cars and trucks. So Jenna says that I need to learn how to be bored, and she's almost assuredly right. But one thing that I wanted to do for the wedding was to drive off in a car that I had built. And I was able to fully restore and have complete, about 2 weeks before the wedding, a 67 Camaro, and that was our drive-away car. So that's one of my passions, and with that I figured I'd maybe press my luck a little bit, and jokingly I asked her if I could build a Abby Realty pre-war shop truck, and I kind of froze up for a second whenever she said yes, because I thought it was a trap, but she wasn't kidding. She said yes. So that's kind of amazing, and love her to death for it and allow me to do that. So it is a 46 Dodge truck that I'm currently restoring, and going to be putting the Abby logo on the side of it. Going to be nice and clean, nostalgic looking, two-tone paint, white wall tires, stained wood bed, the whole 9 yards. Pretty unsuspecting, except for the 440 big block motor underneath it. But there's that. So lastly is just an interest in buying a few rental properties in the future to help kind of solidify, my family's financial situation. So just, again, looking at the financial capabilities, and I felt that I wanted to have a better understanding of the complete process entailed with the whole transaction, start to finish, for educational purposes. So getting into real estate, kind of understanding what all is entailed, just kind of helps solidify that. So with that, just again, a brief background on me, who I am, why I'm getting into real estate. So if you have any kind of questions, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. Call, text, hit me up at 281-727-0946. Email is going to be jmorgantxra@gmail.com. You can check out the website, jmorgantxra.com as well. Instagram, jmorgantxra, and then, kind of a curveball, Facebook, Jeremy Morgan Houston Realtor. Again, I appreciate you tuning in, and looking forward to catching you on the next one. Again, feel free to reach out to me anytime, and y'all have a great one. Thank you.